Tonight we're going to teach you how to be in places that fish swim through or around. You guys that fish on land, listen up. Our captains are here to report on the best fishing near piers and jetties in your region. This is the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, powered by Harbor Trucks and presented by Yamaha.
You're watching the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and this week we're talking about piers and jetties where you're always going to be catching something and having fun, right, Rick?
Certainly. You're going to catch a suntan there for sure, Brie. But you know, the cool part about piers and jetties is a lot of the piers, they stick so far out that you have migrations of fish swimming in and around them and through them. But more importantly, when you're on a jetty, it's like having a median strip in the middle of a highway. The fish hit it, and then they have to go out and in and around. And when they do that, if you're there, it's on. It's on, and you're catching lots of different species. Today, our friends from Harbor Truck, Soft Science, and CCA Florida are here. But first, let's say hi to Dave Ferrell at the CCA Workbench. Dave, what do you have in your bag of tricks today?
You know, I've got a lot of bags and tricks here today, and one of the things we're going to be talking about is having the proper bag, a good backpack when you're out there on the piers and jetties to keep your hands free.
Yes, you need a good backpack for sure.
You got to be able to tote your stuff.
Tote your stuff. All right, starting us off today is Captain Pat Deneen in the Jetty Panhandle region with the inside scoop when it comes to piers and jetties. So, Pat, let's hear it.
Yeah, Brie, you don't need a boat to get in some good fishing in the Panhandle. There's lots of opportunities for shore-based anglers. There's major Gulf side piers in Panama City, Pensacola, Navarre, and Fort Walton Beach. Right now, they're catching Spanish mackerel, king mackerels, bonitas, some redfish, and soon the pompano bite's going to improve. Springtime is a great time to catch pompano off the piers, and also cobias. And then as summer kind of progresses, you know, it's the king mackerels, the tarpons. So we got Gulf side fishing. Additionally, in the bay side, the bridges allow fishing for you know, the bay species, the redfish, the trout. And as new bridges are built, often an old bridge is converted to a fishing pier. And that's kind of what happened over in Pensacola with a 3-mile bridge on the Pensacola side, where they catch plenty of white trout, redfish, flounder, and such like that. Highway 331 bridge is a brand new bridge. They also have a brand new fishing pier underneath the bridge on the south side. There's also plenty of riprap along the causeway. They're catching lots of trout, redfish, and a few tarpon are being caught right now this time of year. And then here in Destin, the Destin jetties are very popular. Plenty of Spanish mackerel and pompano in the springtime, and excellent red fishing in the fall. If you want to get in the water and wade fish, Santa Rosa Sound has miles of shoreline between Navarre and Pensacola with firm bottom, endless grass flats, and great fishing for trout and redfish. And there's a photo of Courtney Cooper, and she's got a really nice bull redfish that she and her father caught plenty of those guys this past week off the Destin jetties. So, like I said, inshore, shore-based fishing is good. And speaking of redfish, the red fishing has been excellent lately in the Jetty Panhandle region. The Destin Pass has been very dependable, as evidenced by that photo of Courtney. Use live baits on a Carolina rig, fish the tides. The beginning of the falling tide is usually the best. In the Sound, Captain Chuck Kemper, he's been putting his clients on some good redfish action using topwater on the grass flats early in the morning. They're casting skidder walks, making long casts, either downwind or downdrift, whichever way that boat's moving, so you're fishing that fresh water. They're using a slow walk-the-dog retrieve, and don't be too surprised if you pick up an occasional pompano, particularly if your topwater bait has some pink or chartreuse in it. The flats redfish are running 25 inches or so, and then the pass fish are those upper slot to over slot fish. And then moving offshore, the marlin fish has been really dependable. We've had some good water pushed in, and everybody's taking advantage. But calm seas, it's perfect conditions. Captain BJ Teams aboard the Macaira out of Destiny had a trip where they went 3 for 4 on blues, 1 for 5 on whites, had a box full of meat fish. The blue water's pushed up well north of the spur. It starts just to the east of the elbow, and it runs north of the nipple all the way over onto the east side in about that 50-fathom line. You want to look for rips, look for color changes, grass lines, patches of grass. Anything of substance floating on the surface is likely to hold some fish. Use 30 to 50-pound tackle. There's plenty of white marlin around, so you know that lighter tackle is going to go well with them guys. For the whiteys, a small to medium skipping or swimming ballyhoo are great bait, but have some larger baits in the spread for the blues, like a Spanish mackerel or a Moldcraft wide ranger, and you want to increase your chances of success. Troll a daisy chain teaser or a dredge rigged with mud flaps, squids, or a combination of natural baits and artificials to maximize your opportunities. There's a photo of a blue marlin we caught Saturday morning on a wide ranger out there by the spur aboard Matt and Jordan's 32-foot regulator. And then finally, in addition to the billfish being caught offshore, the dolphin fishing has been outstanding this past couple of weeks. Well, you know, you can catch dolphin well offshore where the marlins are, but a lot are being caught much closer to the shore, often within 10 miles of the beach. So definitely look for floating structure, particularly large patches of sargassum or weed lines. The weed lines are best fished by trolling ballyhoos or small dusters, basically covering a lot of that weed line. On the big patches, just stop the boat, break out some spinning rods, and have some fun casting jigs or other single hook lures. Single hook lures being key, it's a whole lot easier to get those dolphins off the hook. Right now, it's more about quantity than quality. The bulk of the fish being caught are schoolies. They're probably bigger than chickens, but not quite gaffers.
All right, thank you so much, Pat Tarr. Great report from the Jetty Panhandle region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots. Pat says mangrove snappers at the Destin Bridge using 2 to 3 inch greenies and a light leader. And then offshore, take advantage of the mahi action. Find the grass and you'll find the fish, Brie.
All right, the East region is now upon us, and Captain Mike Holliday is giving us plenty of options for those of us who are fishing from shore, but you're going to have to work for it. Right, Mike?
That's the truth, Brie. If you fish from land a lot, you're a land-based angler, you know that to be successful, you got to put in your time, and it's really no different when you fish in piers or jetties. In Palm Beach County, there's a Lake Worth and Juno Beach piers, which this time of year, they're pretty much primed for the fall mullet run. They got the snook and tarpon migrations going along with that, as well as a pretty good nighttime snapper bite. The same goes to the jetties in Palm Beach and in Jupiter. The snook and snapper bites have been really consistent, particularly at dawn and dusk in those areas. That's when the first of the mullet are pushing through, coming through in big schools, and the fish are actively feeding. In Martin and St. Lucie counties, you have inshore piers and catwalks at the Jensen Beach Causeway. Those are great areas for snook, sea trout, and flounder right now. You can park at Baptist Beach, walk a mile or so down the St. Lucie Inlet, fish a jetty there for snook and tarpon. St. Lucie County has a couple of small piers on Hutchinson Island. They're on the Indian River, off Little Mud Creek, off of Vitola Park, and off of Bear Point Park. Some of the best fishing, though, in my region happens at the South Jetty and Fort Piers. You can fish for flounder, snook, and reds around the Spur Jetty right now. There's a lot of bait fish in that area. Or you can walk over to Judy Rock, throw big plugs at night, big swimming plugs for monster snook and tarpon on the outgoing tide. So a lot of opportunities to fish from land. I got a photo that's 7-year-old Mackenzie Erie with a nice flounder she caught. She caught that off the Jensen Beach Catwalk on the Jensen Beach Causeway. She was fishing with her dad, Charles Erie, and that fish ate a live shrimp. The other thing, one of the least targeted species in my region is triple tail. Despite there being, very consistent action on them in the Indian River, particularly during the fall months. You want to, run the middle of the river looking for crab trap buoys or channel markers, and you'll occasionally see the fish up on the surface around the buoys, but most of the time you're blind casting the structure, make a half a dozen casts. If you don't get a bite, move on. Seems like the larger fish come off the channel markers or off the manatee zone signs. You want to target the fish with live shrimp. You can either fish them on a 1/4 ounce lead head or on a saltwater assassin quick cork. That's one of those rattling corks, and the advantage to that, it allows you to kind of drift the shrimp by the marker or buoy and kind of keep it in the zone and know where your bait is at all time. You can also throw a small chartreuse or brown jig or jig and spoon. The average triple tail is going to be 3 to 5 pounds, but there are some big ones in the mix, and I got an example there. That's John Nelson with a 12-pound triple tail. He caught it off a channel marker in the Indian River. That fish ate a live shrimp.
All right, let's go ahead and go offshore, Hollywood.
Well, despite a lot of current right now, the mangrove snapper bite off Martin and St. Lucie counties has been epic, with a lot of 4 to 8 pound fish being caught this week. The fish are chewing in places like the Sand Pile, the 6 Mile Reef, as well as on some of the wrecks like the Shrimp Boat and on the Halsey. Off St. Lucie County, the Natural Ledge in 65 to 75 feet of water is producing the most consistent bite of the big fish, particularly at night. And you don't want to overlook some of the shallow reefs like around Peck's Lake and the Vero Cove. which get a lot of snapper this time of year that are working their way inshore to feed on the finger mullet for the mullet run. What's really convenient is that juvenile sardines have moved onto the nearshore reefs and wrecks, and they're just snapper candy, and they're easy to catch with a sabiki rig right now. You can anchor up, chum with ground chum, glass minnows, or juvenile pilchards, then drop down a live or dead 5-inch Spanish sardine or a threadfin or a cigar minnow or pilchard, put it out on 30-pound tackle and hang on. Average mangrove snapper region is going to be 2 to 5 pounds, but there's fish to 11 pounds being caught right now. Whoa. The other thing, the king mackerel bite my region is just consistent as can be. Fish of all sizes, but mostly smaller kings that are being caught from Palm Beach to Fort Pierce. The best action seems to be off northern Palm Beach County and off Martin County. The fish are kind of working their way north. Start your day looking along the reef off Jupiter, north of the Juneau Pier, or around the Loran Tower Ledge, or the 6 Mile Reef. But don't overlook areas like the Sand Pile or the Junk Hole or the offshore bar off of Stewart. A lot of the live baits that are on the reefs and wrecks right now are small, so they're not great trolling baits, but, you know, the mullet run's going on. You can throw your cast net and load up on mullet before you ever leave the inlet, then slow troll them on a wire stinger rig. You can also troll a rig ballyhoo, mullet, or ribbon fish, or even pull a spoon or a lip slug. The average kingfish right now is 8 to 12 pounds, but fish to about 30 pounds being caught.
All right, Hollywood, we always talk about bass every week. Why don't you give me some bass report?
Well, you know, the air and water temperatures on Lake Okeechobee have been really hot this week. That doesn't mean the bass fishing isn't hot. It just means it's going on early. I was talking to Captain Mike Schoen of OkeechobeeBassFishing.com. He said you need to be on the water in the dark around Taylor Creek and Eagle Bay. You want to shut your boat down, listen for bass blowing up shad in the Kissimmee grass beds. You'll hear the fish feeding. You know you're in the right area. Then there's like a 45-minute to 1 hour lure bite. And before it gets hot, the bite's good. Once it gets hot, the bite completely shuts down. In that first hour of daylight, you can throw a white Bass Assassin shad, or you can throw a dye dapper in that sunbrim color. Just rig it weedless, crawl it across the grass, and you'll get that explosive topwater bite. You want to throw it way up in the grass, work it out to the edge. You'll get 5 to 10 bites in that hour of fishing. Most of the fish are 2 to 3 pounds, but there are some bigger fish. Then it's time to switch over to live shiners, work the outside hydrilla edges on the south side of Kings Bar or around the pass. The shiner bite will get you another 20 to 30 fish. You'll be off the water by 11 with 25 to 40 fish, and there'll be a few 5 to 6 pound fish in that mix as well. So, Okeechobee's very strong right now.
All right, thank you so much, Mike. We're going to go and take a look at the Atlas Jack Plate hotspots from the East region. Mike says inshore sight casts for tailing reds on the mooring flats at first light. Saltwater Assassin, Calcasieu, Brie, and 5-inch shads rigged weedless. And then offshore, swordfish in 1,600 feet of water off of Boynton Inlet, rigged squid, ladyfish, or goggle eyes on the bottom during the day and near the surface at night. Brie, that's in your backyard.
Yes, it is. All right, stay right where you are, friends. We're fishing in the Central West region next, and then seeing what landlocked advice Dave is chatting about at the CCA workbench. Dave, what's going on over here?
Well, I was landlocked for quite a long time, so
yes,
I've got a lot of rock hopping in my past.
Yes,
He
I
looks
was too
like
for
a
9
rock
months.
hopper,
He does look like a rock
Hopefully we'll
hopper.
ever tell you how to do
rock
something.
hopper.
I was. All right, we'll be back, guys.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats. Always in the game. SiriusXM Marine. Weather, fishing info, and channel surfing. Daiquiri Deck. Sarasota's favorite place to meet. And Sea Sucker. Get pumped.
Introducing the 2018 Nissan Titan Half-Ton. The Titan you've known and loved since 2004 has been redesigned. Titan comes with a 5.6-liter gas V8 engine putting out 390 horsepower, or opt for the Cummins Turbo Diesel with a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty and up to $9,600 in total savings. The Titan has never been so affordable. So for special hassle-free Florida Insider Fishing Report pricing, call one of our truck specialists now at 833-GOT-TRUCKS or visit harbortrucks.com/Rick.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO Offshore.
If you want to set your fishing on fire, check out the new Ricky Red rods by Akuma. I've personally designed these rods to make you a better fisherman. This graphite rod is light, strong, and very well balanced, and it will feel great in your hand. And the Fuji reel seats and guides will accommodate your favorite size reel. I love them so much that I even put my name on it. Ricky Red Rods by Akuma.
Welcome back. Here's a look at the FWC news and notes. September 24th, there's a volunteer oyster reef restoration in Panama City, and September 26th is the Peace River PS boating course. For more information, visit myfwc.com. But now let's head to the TCA workbench for rigs and techniques.
Well, Dave, we're here at the Academy Sports and Outdoors Rigs and Techniques.
I'm like a little kid in church. I can't keep quiet over here.
I know. The CCA workbench is a busy place tonight.
Yes, sir. Well,
man, what are we doing?
I've got like 18 things I want to go through, and we got 4.5 minutes. So first off, the first thing I want to say when you're going to go fishing on a bridge or a pier is, get there early. You want to get your spot, and always, you usually have a better bite early in the morning. And you can get 2 spots, which is very important. If you're on a bridge, especially, or a pier, you get a spot on one side and a spot on the other, because you never know when the wind's going to change and the current and the tide. So if you have a spot on each side, tie a rod off one on each side, and you can cover 2 spots at once. That's a good idea. A good backpack when you're on a jetty, or when you're having to walk down the rocks. Especially, if you're on a pier, you can use a nice rolling bin or something. But when you're on a jetty and you're hopping through those rocks, you need to have something to keep your at least one hand free to brace yourself in case you fall in the rocks. And that's another good thing to do is have a good pair of shoes when you're on those piers. Don't go out there in your flip-flops. Because they just don't offer enough stability to keep your feet in one spot when you're walking on those granite chunks and stuff, and you can get your foot down in there and hurt. If you're going to be going out there, use some waterproof tackle boxes. A lot of these up here have gaskets in them, because when you're on the jetty, waves can come and you can get wet. Get a good assortment of hooks and weights. Make sure that you have a lot of different sizes and styles of hooks and weights both, because again, you never know what the current's going to be like, or the wind direction, or what kind of species you're going to be chasing. So you need, some big hooks if the big stuff comes, and you need some little hooks in case you want to catch bait. I got little tiny gold hooks in there, and I always bring some fish bites with me.
Because you can tip your sabikis with
Exactly, I can tip my R&R sabikis. I failed to bring those this today because I had a bunch of them in a bag and I left them. But you want to use either a dead shrimp or something that you can put on those little gold hooks and catch you some live bait, because you want to catch live bait. You want to use some wire, or you want to bring some wire with you, some number 4 to number 6 wire, because you never know when the bluefish or the Spanish mackerel are going to come cruising through there. And if you've only got 20-pound mono for a leader, you're going to probably lose those fish. Again, bring you some extra different styles of leader, from say 10-pound up to 50-pound if you're going to be out there. You can usually probably catch just about everything out there on 50-pound that's going to bite, unless
when you catch a eating fish, Dave, how do you land them when you're standing on a pier?
Use one of these. This is called a bridge gaff, and this is a pretty wicked thing. You
just
lower
drop
this,
it down?
You drop it down underneath the fish, get him up on the surface, and then whoop, hit him with this thing. And you could also use a bridge net. They make a big wide hoop net about 36 inches across, and you can get underneath a fish. And that's good if you're going to be letting fish go, if you're catching fish that you want to let go. But if it's a keeper fish, this is the man right here.
So
this will get him in.
Can I borrow this? I might have somebody at home I need to straighten out.
That'll straighten them out for sure. That will. You want to make sure you bring a good knife. You know, you're going to be cutting up bait and chopping up stuff when you're out there. A good bunch of floats sometimes. And a lot of times I'm out there, boy, I wish I had a float. You know, sometimes I don't have them. If you have a good float, bring some with you. Bring a 5-gallon bucket if you can carry it. 5-gallon bucket just does a whole lot of things. It carries a lot of stuff. You can turn it into a live well if you need to, and you can sit on it if you have to. You know, there's a million things that you can do with that. Take three rods with you. You know, I like to take 3 rods. I don't like to take more than that. 3's fine. I can use one light one to catch bait with. I can use a medium one to do all my casting with, and I can have one heavy rod that I can put a big live bait or a big dead bait and just let it sit and let it do its thing while I'm doing, you know, everything else. A gotcha is very important. Any little lure that's really heavy that you can throw a long way, because the worst thing in the world is to be on a jetty or a pier and you can't reach those fish that you see out there busting. So little things that weigh a lot that you can cast a long way.
I think there's more here that we need to talk about next time.
I think I got through 10 of them. Sunscreen.
You did good.
You know, make sure you bring some sunscreen.
Dave, your time's up, man. Hey, Brie.
Dave! Gosh, it's never running out of things to talk about. All right, just a reminder, if you want to get your fishing on fire, the Ricky Red Rods are available by Okuma, and you can simply go to rickyredrods.com to order and check out our cool video. And someone who knows a little bit about the Ricky Red Rods, the Startron Central West Region's Captain Jeff Page is now up, and he's going to help you plan your shore-based or boat-based fishing adventure this weekend. So Page, talk to us.
You know what? You're right. I got my Ricky Red Rods, and I'm loving them.
Lucky you.
As for Piers and Jetties, we've got them in the Startron region. And you know what? Starting down south, across the Mayaca River, is a still famous pier called the El Jobim Bridge. And it's good throughout the summer months at night, but then as we get into the fall and winter months, all times of day is good there. And it's really good for snook fishing, tarpon fishing, sheephead, black salmon. If we work our way north, get up into Venice, we have the Venice Pier that sticks down into the Gulf. And then just north of that are the Venice Jetties, world-famous jetties. Guys catch a lot of big snook there at night, as well as, again, in the wintertime months, great for sheephead, mangrove snapper. And, you know, I heard Dave mentioning, and as I go on, you'll kind of feel this out. Wherever you go to a pier or a jetty, most of the people out there are going to know what's going on, what's biting. If you're not sure, go out there and just ask them. They're usually pretty friendly, and they're going to help you out. Working our way up north Sarasota Bay, there's a pier called the Tony Soprito Pier, and then in Bradenton Beach, there's 3 piers, starting with the City Pier that's in the Intercoastal, and then we have 2 piers that stick out in the Gulf off Bean Point in Anna Maria, the Rod and Reel Pier and the City Anna Maria City Pier. Both those, you can catch a variety of species. Last in my region, probably the most famous one, is the Sunshine Skyway Pier, which is 2 sides of the old Skyway Bridge with the middle taken out. So there's a north and a south side. You can drive your car right to the pier there and fish. They pretty much stole my thunder on all my accessories. 5-gallon bucket's probably one of the best things to bring with all your stuff inside it. A bubbler, I don't know if he mentioned a bubbler, but a good aerated bubbler's great. Sabiki rod your bait, and then you put it in your 5-gallon bucket with your bubbler going. And, you know, there's all different things you can have different people doing, from catching crabs to dip netting minnows to sabikiing up minnows, keeping the bait alive. There's a lot to do when you pier and bridge fishing. Got a photo tonight of number 1, the world-famous Skyway Pier, which is really nice shot. And then my second photo is of my friend Eric Hernandez from Walt's Fish Market with a black-tipped shark and a young guy helping him out. He got off the Venice pier off the beach there.
All right. What else you got for us inshore, Captain Page?
Santa grouper, you know, like I said, inshore. Pompano. August, September, great pompano fishing. They're all up in the bays now. Ride till you skip them, or if you caught them a day before, go back to the same area. They're going to be there. Use the U-Pro flat jig in pink and white or yellow and white. They're along the east side of the bay from Port Manatee north to Ruskin. Got a photo tonight of Billy Ahlstrom with a nice pompano he got this week. And then my offshore species, gag grouper. Gag grouper bite's been really good. 140 feet of water on out. The smaller ledges and the smaller areas of a hard bottom are going to produce your better fish. Take some frozen sardines as well as sabiki up some blue runners and pinfish. Got a photo tonight of Captain Jason Stock with a stud gag grouper he got this past week. Nice. And my last species, permit. I know it sounds like a broken record, but the permit has probably been our most reliable offshore species this summer because we haven't had any real bad weather to speak of, and the fish are holding out there in that 7 to 11 mile range. The key, Rick, has been dipping your crabs the night before. I know you mentioned you went with 6 crabs. You had 6 bites. Yep. Pretty much the same thing going on here. The only time you won't catch them is you take 100 crabs, then you might get 1 bite.
That's right. Thank you so much, Captain Page. We're going to go and take a look at the Daiquiri Deck Central West region hotspots. Inshore mangrove, snapper, nice keeper size mangs are holding up and down the entire south side of the Skyway fishing pier on the pylons. And then offshore, gag groupers. Good gags are being caught on the ledges and wrecks in 140 feet of water off of Venice.
Well, Rick, speaking of Page, October 3rd, I will be joining Rick, Jeff Page, and Jeff Hageman for the Harbor Trucks Seminar in Port Charlotte from 4:30 to 8 p.m. So come on over, get to know us, ask some questions, and check out some Harbor Trucks vehicles. It's going to be a fun time.
Absolutely, and you know we're going to be doing test drives, so come on.
Yes, we are. Come on over. The Central East and Northeast regions are coming up next here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Plus, our friends from Harbor Trucks are here to tell you how to get a great deal on a new vehicle. So stay hooked, and we'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Swift, Silent, Secure, Bass Assassin, and Saltwater Assassin. The best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. The American Fishing Tackle Company, any fish, any water, since 1958. Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
As close as you're going to get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left. There's no cycle. When it comes to sail fishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
Introducing the 2018 Nissan Titan Half-Ton. The Titan you've known and loved since 2004 has been redesigned. Titan comes with a 5.6-liter gas V8 engine putting out 390 horsepower. Or opt for the Cummins Turbo Diesel with a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty and up to $9,600 in total savings. The Titan has never been so affordable. So for special hassle-free Florida Insider Fishing Report pricing, call one of our truck specialists now at 833-GOT-TRUCKS or visit harbortrucks.com/Rick.
Welcome back, and how would you like to win a Nissan Titan from Harbor Trucks? Well, the Harbor Trucks giveaway is making it easy, and all you have to do is go to their Facebook page, like it, mark going to an event, and tag a friend. But there are so many more ways to enter until the end of December, so head on over to harbortrucks.com for more information. And Rick, I see some people over there who can probably elaborate on this a little bit.
You're absolutely right, Brie. As you can tell, I have Chris Freeland, Sean Freeland with me from Harbor Nissan and Harbor Trucks. Now, Chris, we've got this lovely lady. Why don't you tell us what she's doing here?
Well, first and foremost, on behalf of myself, Sean, and the fabulous employees at Harbor Trucks and Harbor Nissan, I want to thank you for a great year.
Oh,
I know next week's the last one we won't be here, so we wanted to make sure we got that thank you in there for you.
Well, thank you for your support. It's been awesome.
Well, we've done great this year with the trucks. It's really worked out well for us. People of Florida now know where to go to get a great deal on a truck.
Absolutely.
Because of you.
Well, thanks.
And the reason that she's here, Kelly Baxter, we want to introduce her as the new sales coordinator to go along with the show.
Oh, that's bad news for you, Kelly. You got to deal with me and all of these great fans that we have.
Happy to do it.
So, Sean, tell us a little bit about Kelly.
Well, Rick, Kelly has been with us for about 3 years now, and she is an absolute rock star. I can't even brag enough about this woman. Chris and I are fully confident, along with the Harbor Trucks team and the Harbor Nissan team, that she is going to provide top-notch service to all of the fans here.
So, Kelly, what should people expect when they call? What are they going to expect to hear from you? What are you going to do?
Well, the very first thing I'm going to do is respond promptly to them. I'm going to listen, pick out the perfect truck and accessories for them. And that's going to be either a new truck or a pre-owned truck. And then we're going to provide the best overall buying experience at Harbor Trucks.
All right, so if somebody calls, how are they going to get a hold of you? They're not calling me.
No, they can call 1-833-GOT-TRUCKS, or if you'd like to email, you can email rick@harbortrucks.com and I will respond.
All right, thank you guys so much. Looking forward to working with you, Kelly, Sean, Chris. Sorry you won't be here next week, but guess what? We got a lot of things to do, especially on October 3rd. Right, Brie?
Absolutely. Well, the Bell Central East region is looking like a good place to be if you're planning on fishing this weekend. So, Jim, why don't you tell everyone what they have to be excited about?
Well, real quick, before we get to it, I just want to say the cool thing about working with Harbor Trucks, because I'm getting ready to get a truck, is that they will ship it anywhere in the state if you need it shipped. So you pick out what you want, and they'll get it to you. So it's going to be really cool working with Kelly and the gang on my purchase of my new truck. But going back to those Bell Central East region jetties and piers, they are on fire this week. Right now, the redfish, snook, and tarpon action has been really good as long as there's bait around. That's the key to it. You want to take one of those free-line mullet in the 4 to 8 inch range and pitch it up next to the jetties, piers, anything of that, any kind of structure sticking out off the shorelines in the Central East region is holding fish on it right now, as long as there's bait holding around it. Now, if you don't get any bites on the top, especially in the daytime, you can put a knocker rig on and get them down a little bit. That'll get those fish to strike if they're not coming up to the top to strike. Now, at night, flare hawks, X-Wrap lures in the mullet finish and storm swim baits are also working really well for the snook and redfish, especially at Ponce and Sebastian inlets off of those jetties and piers. And you can also catch jacks, flounder, sharks, mangrove snapper, bluefish. There's a lot of other species out there right now. Now, expect the action to slow a little bit in a couple of weeks as the mullet run slows, but as long as we have mullet around those structures, you're going to catch some fish. I've got a picture of Jamie Thrafis of Yellow Dog Charters up at Ponce Inlet with some nice redfish that he and a customer got here just this last couple of days. And then the other species that we're going to talk about inshore this week is the snook. Obviously, snook are part of the mullet run phenomena that we have to deal with, but the guys at Salty Dog Outfitters in New Smyrna were saying that the snook bite's really good up there, not just at the inlet itself and at the jetties, but also at the area bridges and a lot of those backcountry areas. If you have a kayak or you're a shoreline angler, right now those features, especially those mangrove shorelines and some of the backwaters around the inlet are doing really well. You can fish from the bridges as well, or some of those little fishing piers that stick off underneath the bridges. And right now, bomber long A's, Rapala X-Wraps, and of course mullet are working really well. Now, the Central East region snook are running about 24 to 35 inches, and there's some really big ones out there as well. Got a couple of reports of fish up into the mid 40-inch range this week. And I've got a photo here of Jeremy Folmsby. He got a Central East snook this week while fishing at the New Smyrna North Bridge from land. So that's a pretty good fish to catch.
That's a great fish. Go ahead, offshore.
Swinging offshore. Cobia on the bull sharks. If the bull sharks are hanging around the 90-foot reefs in the southern portion of the region, you're going to still get a chance at some of those cobia. We've gotten quite a few reports that chumming those sharks up to the top are bringing the cobia up with them, and obviously they'll come up and investigate your chum. Now, the hard part is actually not hooking the cobia, but getting them into the boat before the sharks get them first. So we're recommending that you use very heavy tackle, much heavier than what you're typically using for cobia, so that you can get them in the box and keep them out of the fish's stomach. Captain Joe from Fin Factor Charters reports that cobia can also be found around the shrimp boats in the 130 to 180-foot depths this week. Wherever they're anchored up, chumming or culling their catch, that acts like chum, and so you can get into that chum slick from one of those shrimp boats and get some of those cobia there as well. Now, the trolling action also is working really good right now from the guys out of Ponce. Each day, the water's cleaning up a little more, and the sailfish report has actually been pretty good this week. Small to medium-sized ballyhoo with a chin weight on it, naked, is really the preferred bait to drag for sails. But you can also run mullet, especially with the mullet run going so strong along the beach. You should have no trouble getting fresh baits to rig that you can either put on your fishing lines to troll, or you can make a dredge teaser, a dredge teaser with a mullet out of those 5 to 8 inch size mullet. And I'm telling you, the most experienced sailfish guys that are running out there running dredges are coming home with 3 to 10 shots per day right now. Your average sailfish is running about 35 to 50 pounds, and we look forward to that water to continue to clean up so that we can continue to get out there and catch plenty of these fish.
All right, thank you so much, Jim. We're going to go and take a look at the sea sucker hotspots from the Central East region inshore. The area jetties are providing redfish and snook. Use live 4 to 8 inch mullet on a knocker or a sliding sinker rig, and then offshore, tarpon and the mullet pods rigged with a live mullet on a 7 to 8.0 VMC 7385 coastal black circle hook for those poons.
All right, Rick, another event coming up is Flow Loco's first annual Florida Sports Fest, September 29th at 10 a.m., where Captain Rick will be giving fishing seminars all day long at the Orlando Festival Park. It should be a fun day with musical artists and good times, so make sure to join him in the center of that beautiful flag there.
Yeah, thanks.
In the middle of Florida.
I don't know what I'm going to talk
Florida.
about.
I'm Miss Florida and you're Mr. Florida.
I know.
All right,
How
the
did we do
Strike
that?
Zone Northeast region is up with our favorite FaceTimer, Captain Tommy Derringer. What's good, Tommy?
Hey guys, I'm not saying anything about the flyer this time. I think it looks good. I like it.
It looks great.
It looks great. Hey, guys, you know what? We have some awesome jetties and some really great fishing piers here in the Strike Zone Northeast region. You know, a couple of them or a few of them come to mind. We've got the Jacksonville Pier, the St. Augustine, and the Flagler Beach Piers. Now, you can catch all kinds of different fish from those piers depending on the time of year. And you know what? Right now, the start of our mullet run, it's going to be really good. The redfish, tarpon, kingfish, jacks, all kinds of stuff, they're going to get into those pods of mullet along the beach and pass by all of those piers. They're probably going to swim right underneath them. A lot of sharks, some that are really huge, can also be found in casting range of those pier anglers. So if you're looking to catch a big fish from one of the piers, late summer, early fall, this time of year, it's a great time to check it out. A live mullet, either on the bottom or free line on a circle hook, would be a great way to go. But you know, you can also do really well with pretty much any kind of cut bait. Now the jetty fishing is on fire right now as well. You know, the mullet, both big and small, they're seriously stacking up at all the area inlets and jetties. And there's a ton of big jacks, even a few bluefish, crushing the bait in and around the St. Augustine jetty and inlet. Redfish are being caught around the slack tides in all the inlets and along the jetties, and the tarpon have been thick in there as well. The best bite has been on the top or the bottom of the tide, but you know, the tarpon, they seem to be feeding throughout the tide as well. If you're targeting a tarpon, 8 to 10 inch mullet free lined on that VMC circle hook that Jim was talking about to the edges of the bait pods has been working really well. Just look for busting or rolling fish, and I've got a picture here. This is a tarpon that we recently caught at the St. Augustine jetties. Caught him on a free line mullet. You know, with that early morning light, this fish had some really cool colors on him.
Yeah, he did.
Now, staying with the jetty theme, guys, you know, the flounder have been chewing at all the inlets and jetties, as well as along the ICW and up in the creeks throughout the region. Drag a finger mullet around the jetty rocks or any kind of structure near the inlet, and you know what, you're gonna find some decent flounder hanging out right now. Just make sure you're using enough weight to hold the bait on the bottom. We've had some really big tides here lately, so use enough weight. Now, there's a ton of those small mullet inshore and in the backcountry right now, and those flounder, you know, they love to eat those little mullet. If you're gonna creek fish, the last couple hours of the outgoing tide is gonna be best. Target the smaller runouts and feeder creeks and anywhere you find a concentration of those mullet. The flatties, they're also hanging out right along the edges of the ICW on the low tide stage. Again, look for those small runouts and the concentrations of mullet. A finger mullet or a mud minnow pinned to a 1/4 ounce jig head is going to work really well on those inshore flatties. And I've got another picture here. You know, my buddy Captain Colin Phillips not only takes killer photos, but he catches some really killer fish as well. This is one of them. Captain Colin with his 8-pound flounder he caught a few days ago right up near the Mayport jetties. Now moving offshore, you know, there hasn't been a whole lot of offshore fishing going on lately, but you know what, the offshore guys that have been out, they tell me the snapper bite has been the go-to the last couple of weeks. The vermilion, as well as the mangoes and the muttons, they're biting good in the 120 to 140 foot depths. The current's been really strong out there, and the ocean's been pretty angry and choppy with the recent storms, but if you can find a reef with some clean water, you're probably gonna find some snapper stacked up. The vermilion snapper, they've been pretty big in that 4 to 6 pound range. Live and dead baits have both been working well, and most of the captains are gonna be fishing with a double chicken rig for those vermilion, or beeliners as we call them. Now, also offshore, the kingfish bite has been pretty good all month, and it's going to continue to be strong over the next couple of weeks. Just about all the nearshore reefs are going to be holding those kingfish. The usual slow trolling with live baits or even a Rapala plug has been working really well. As the ocean calms down a little and the water clears up, those kingfish, they're going to be a staple for us charter guys here this time of year. Most of the kingfish are in the 8 to 12 pound range with some bigger ones mixed in. And speaking of big kingfish, Captain Rob Bennett and Powell Crosley caught this big monster kingfish at 4 Mile Reef out of St. Augustine on Powell's Flats boat.
That's pretty good stuff, Tommy. Thank you so much. Great report this week from the Strike Zone Northeast region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at your hot spots. All right, he says inshore redfish, flounder, and tarpon and all the area inlets. Fish around the slack tide and look for the busting fish in the mullet schools. And then offshore, a mixed bag of snapper in 120 to 140 foot depths out of St. Augustine.
Tommy's photos are on
He
point
wins
always.
the crown.
Always. Next on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, we're heading to the Northwest region. But first, we're seeing what Dave is talking about, the CCA workbench for some new products. Dave.
Yeah, got some hard baits here. I don't even know if I want to throw them in the water. They're so pretty.
They're so pretty.
They are
Just
pretty.
hang them on the wall.
Might lose those.
All right, we'll be back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. For all, for less. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Soft Science, Supreme Comfort Footwear. Real Legends, exclusively at Bell's. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, and Pathfinder.
Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 offshore 4-strokes. For those that like their V6 lighter, faster, and stronger. Setting new standards for power, efficiency, speed, and lightweight. Built for the rigors of offshore boating. Packed with Yamaha's legendary reliability. And now Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 4-strokes offer a choice between digital or mechanical controls to match your rigging preference. Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
Yeah? Stop working right now! Look outside. Is this spreadsheet weather? No, it's not. This is fishing weather. So stop clicking, get out there, and catch a bass. Stop what you're doing and start fishing Rapala Ripstop.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Visit us in store or at academy.com for the guaranteed lowest prices. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Well, Dave, we're here at the CCA workbench for the second
we are.
round with the two clowns over here talking about products.
Yep.
So what do we got?
Well, first off, we're going to start off with the Tigris stainless steel cup inserts. And these are really pretty, and they're made to go into your boat.
The gunnel.
Yeah, exactly. To, hold bigger stuff. The Yetis that go right in there, the 20 ounce and the big 30 ounce. goes right in there real nice. If you're out there on the boat hitting boat wakes and stuff, you don't have to worry about spilling your stuff anymore.
Right.
Because it's not going to move out of there. And the little ones also hold the little ramblers well, your little cocktail glasses as well.
So you can have a high ball.
Exactly.
Going on.
High ball, low ball, whatever ball you want. You got it right there. And they again, like I said, they got really nice drains on them.
Right.
You can put a tube on them and put them to the bilge or overboard, whatever you want to do.
Absolutely.
Nice stainless steel, 316 stainless steel. So tigeroutriggers.com is where you can get those.
Thank you very much.
These are really nice. Some Nomad Design Tackle.com. These are just beautiful stuff. They showed up at the ICAST show this year with some great stuff. That's the Mad Scad over here, and that's a really long casting bait, sinks really fast. It's a sinking stick bait, what it is.
Right.
And you can just reel that thing right back to you, and it'll just wobble along, or you can jerk it and make it dance. And they are just beautiful hooks, big hooks on them, and just very well made, Gorilla through wire. Just really good stuff. And also here we have that's another Mad Scad. They just come in brilliant colors. This is the DTX Minnow. It's called a dog tooth extreme. I don't know if you ever heard of a dog tooth tuna. It's a big tuna fish with dog-like teeth, and they just tear everything to pieces. And these things are built to withstand that. They can dive 30 to 40 feet, go to 11 knots. You know, it'll go down to 36 feet, 6 to 8 knots.
Trolling this in tannic water for groupers.
Oh,
man, in those rivers and the glades.
Kingfish, wahoos,
you name it.
Anything with teeth. You'll love to eat those things. Real quick here, we've got some Bass Assassin XX fat jobs, 2X fat jobs. These are big profile baits that move a lot of water. They're great for pitching or flipping for bass. You can use it as a trailer bait. 12 colors, including different tail colors. I just use it, Texas rig it, and fish it around hydrilla as well with no weights, or you can put a weight on it and get it down to the bottom a little bit.
Now, Dave, I see we have some Soft Science. We're going to bring in John Marriott from Soft Science. John, welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Great to be here.
It's so great that you were able to come down. We've been involved with over 3 years. And you know what? We want to tell you thank you so much for the support.
Well, hey, thank you, Rick. I mean, you were one of the earliest adopters of our very first fishing shoe, the original fin. And now you've been through the Fin 2, the Fin 3, the boots, all of our generations of flip-flops, and now you're wearing our sailing shoe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, right from the very start, you know, you've been through the entire evolution over the last 3 years. And, you know, we really want to say thank you to you. You know, I don't think it's a coincidence. We sell shoes nationwide and internationally now, but our top 2 states are Florida and Texas.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
The same 2 states where your show broadcasts.
All right, so a guy's watching, he wants to buy a pair. How can he do that? Is there a dealer locator? Does he go on the web? How's he do it?
You go on softscience.com. You see the entire selection of all of our fishing shoes, as well as our casual shoes and flip-flops. You want to find a local store, you just go up on the top right, hit the store locator, and you can find stores in your state, or you can buy them right on our website.
And we make them for the ladies too?
Absolutely. Just, you know, we've had flip-flops for years for ladies, but now we've got the fishing and boating shoes too.
Well, John, thank you so much for the support. And we're going to have to go to another region, right, Brie?
Yes, we absolutely are. All right, Captain Jeff Hageman in the Flagler Construction Northwest region has your pier and jetty info for this weekend, so listen up.
We've got them in my region. We actually got one of the biggest ones in the state. The Sunshine Skyway Fishing Pier, the old Sunshine Skyway Bridge, was converted into a fishing pier after its demolishing. And all the rubble from it is out in front of both piers on either side of the bay, and it spans the whole length of Tampa Bay, the whole mouth of Tampa Bay. So as far as species go, tarpon, sharks, kingfish, grouper, snapper, Spanish mackerel, you name it, you can pretty much catch it off this bridge. It's great fishery. It's got good water flow. There's always bait on it. We've also got other scattered piers in our region. In the southern part of the region, just to name a few, we got Reddington Pier and Clearwater Pier. We've also got some great wade fishing in our area and some good surf fishing too. If you're going to be wading and you're going to get on the flats, a good pair of wading shoes is a must. We got a lot of rocky bottom and oyster bottom up here, so good pair of wading shoes is definite. As far as off the beaches, redfish, snook, trout are all available from land. We've got a lot of access points. You don't have to have a boat to enjoy saltwater fishing or take your kids out there and have a good time. Staying inshore, the snook bite has been on fire on the outer islands and passes in the south half of the region, with most of them being small males, so that's 24 to 26, 27-inch fish, with a few females mixed in. Live sardines fished in the swash channel along the beach, free-lined, or you can get out there and sight cast them. Just get on your trolling motor, run right along evenly with the beach, and pitch right where that water breaks, and that's where they're going to be. You can see the fish up there moving. In the passes, live pinfish, big fish, with just enough lead to get it down to the bottom and in the tide and drift it right through the tide. It's also been working very well, and that's where you're going to find some of the bigger females right now. Moving offshore, the mangrove snapper bite's been good in the southern half of the region, and that's 45 to 70 feet of water over high relief structure like rock piles, wrecks, reefs. Fish up to 5 pounds have been pretty regularly caught. Knocker rigs are the key. And when I'm talking about knocker rigs, I had a question on one of our emails from one of our watchers. A knocker rig is a hook, and then you're going to thread your egg sinker on first, and you're going to rest it right on the base of your hook. So tie your hook on and let it rest right there. 5 to 6 feet of fluorocarbon leader, and that 25 to 40 pound fluorocarbon leader, a 2/0 to 3/0 circle hook, and 2 to 4 ounces of lead. Live shrimp, small pinfish, live sardines, and frozen sardines have all been effective. The gag grouper bite's been good throughout the entire region, with the middle grounds especially being really good last week. Rock piles, ledges are all holding lots of fish. I preach this a lot when I talk about grouper fishing. When you first start off on that spot, start off with that cut bait, frozen sardines, Boston mackerel, octopus. When that bite slows down, drop a pinfish down or a pigfish down, and that should get those picky fish eaten. Standard bottom rig with a 100-pound Suffolk fluorocarbon leader, 7/0 to 8/0 circle hook, depending on what size bait you're using, and 8 to 10 ounces of lead to get down to the bottom.
All right, great report from the Flagler Northeast region. We're going to go and take a look at the hot spots. Jeff says inshore, the redfish bite throughout the region remains strong on the top of the tide using cut bait, and then offshore, groupers in 70 to 120 feet of water over rock piles and ledges use pinfish and sardines on a standard bottom rig. What do you think?
Rick, well, we've been talking about the CCA Star Tournament for weeks now, and the upcoming CCA Florida Star Awards ceremony and banquet is on Saturday, October 20th at Rock Crusher Canyon Pavilion and Amphitheater in Crystal River. Star winners will be awarded prizes. You can meet some of your favorite captains from the Florida Insider Fishing Report and other fishing celebrities. Enjoy a great meal, a live performance, cocktails, silent and live auction, and the Kids Fun Zone, and so much more. So to get your tickets, visit ccafloridastar.com. Sounds like a good time, as always, with CCA. All right, stay with us, Floridians. We're headed to the Southeast and Keys regions, plus CCA Florida is here to tell us about the Adopt a Snook program. And remember, if you want to keep up with everything fishing in Florida, visit our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us on YouTube, and view and tag us on Instagram. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Startron cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Jetty, built for the wild. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Strike Zone Fishing, your fish hunt paddle store. And Guy Harvey, marine wildlife artist and conservationist.
Real Legends Performance Clothing. Everything you need to be comfortable on the water all day long. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime or go to reallegends.com to find a Bell store near you.
Introducing the 2018 Nissan Titan Half-Ton. The Titan you've known and loved since 2004 has been redesigned. Titan comes with a 5.6-liter gas V8 engine putting out 390 horsepower. Or opt for the Cummins Turbo Diesel with a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty and up to $9,600 in total savings. The Titan has never been so affordable. So for special hassle-free Florida Insider Fishing Report pricing, call one of our truck specialists now at 833-GOT-TRUCKS or visit harbortrucks.com/Rick.
Flagler Construction Equipment is your certified Volvo equipment dealer, servicing 55 counties in Florida. With Volvo, you get brute strength combined with bulletproof durability. That means low downtime and optimal production. Flagler Construction Equipment is the partner for all your Volvo sales, service, and rental needs, and your first and last stop for legendary customer service and support. Push boundaries with Volvo. Get to know Flagler Construction Equipment by stopping by one of our 6 locations, or visit us on the web at www.flaglerce.com.
Well, welcome back, and as you can see, I have my good friend Brian Gorski from CCA. And Brian, you know, 2 years ago in 2016, we invited Bill Shedd from the Hub SeaWorld Research Institute, and we gave them $20,000, and that $20,000 was to go towards a fish hatchery in Pensacola. Those kind of plans kind of fell wayside by FWC, but in the meantime, what the Hub Research Institute has done with the money is we did seashore and seagrass restoration in the Indian River Lagoon, as well as we did a study on nitrates with Dr. Sam Rossman. So, you know, we really believe at RM Media in giving back to the fishing industry. Now, I know that we've had a catastrophic red tide on the Southwest coast. And with your partner, Duke Energy, we've got a couple plans in place with redfish. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Indeed, Rick, thanks for having me. It all started with my friend Eric Latimer, the executive director of the Duke Mariculture Center up in Crystal River, gave me a call, and he wanted to give back, and he wanted to help with the recovery of red tide. And he's got 10,000 fingerling redfish, and between 200 and 300 adult redfish that we're going to release in the affected areas once the red tide subsides.
Now, you know, it wasn't just redfish that were killed. There were Goliath groupers and tarpon and manatees and all kinds of other things. But snook is a huge income providing fish for
They're both iconic species in the state.
So through Moat Marine and your relationship there, we also have a new program. Tell me a little bit.
We do. It's called the Adopt a Snook program. And again, we're going to do, it's a 2-year initiative with Moat Marine. We're going to release 5,000 tagged snook each year. They'll be fingerling snook as well, though I'll be tagged with PIT tags, passive integrated transponder tags, that will transmit data through the antenna arrays in the tidal creeks where they'll be released. So you can adopt a snook. You'll get the tag number, you'll get a adoption certificate, and you'll be able to get reports and data as those fish swim past the
So an individual can adopt one for how much?
$100.
Nice. Well, you know, Brian, Kathy and I and all of our employees at RM Media believe in, you know, talking with, you know, backing up what we say. And so we want to present you with a $20,000 check to get started with the CCA Adopt a Snook program. And this ought to buy for Danny Latham and Bo Johnson and Matt Haig and all the other great guides down in Punta Gorda and Port Charlotte. Yeah. It ought to buy 450 snook.
That's incredible, Rick. Thank you very much.
So if guys want more information, what do they want to do?
They can go to adoptasnook.com. You can adopt as many snook as you want. And, you know, Rick, I got to thank you and Kathy and RM Media. You've been a great partner all these years. And, you know, not only do you participate, you get it and you give back and you put your money where your mouth is. And, you know, it's a beautiful partnership and we appreciate it. And I can't go without telling you that your 2 favorite fans, Cade and Carly, say hello.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Make sure you give them a kiss from me. And you know what, Bree? Speaking of kisses, we've got a little baby that's coming later in the show. So I got kisses. So
you're gonna get kisses later.
Oh, promise. All right.
All right. If you're in the Casa Vieja Southeast region, finding a pier that is producing shouldn't be too hard. And Captain Jimbo Thomas is on the line for some guidance. Tell us more, Jimbo.
That's right, Bree. If you want to go fishing off of a pier, the Southeast region is definitely a place to do it. There's no other area in the state that the deep water is so close to shore. And at one time, there was quite a few fishing piers in the region, but over the years, a lot of these piers, they've been beat up by hurricanes, torn down, out of business, whatever. Tropical storms took their toll. So there's only a few of them remaining. We've got the Lake Worth Pier, the Deerfield Beach Pier, the Pompano Pier, Angling's Pier, and the South Beach Pier. And I believe that the Pompano and the South Beach Piers are free, and the others charge around $3 to $4. There's also good fishing around the jetties, although you definitely risk your life walking over those rocks, but you can safely fish those jetties from a boat. Now, the Boynton Inlet Jetty, it's basically a fishing pier, and on the south side of Hulliver Inlet, there's a concrete walkway. Now, you can catch snook year-round off all of these piers, and also assorted snappers, grunts, and jacks. Those are your pier mainstays. And then in the winter months, Spanish mackerel move in, so that's coming right around the corner, a few more weeks. Bluefish, pompano, even cobia, and even the occasional kingfish are caught off the piers and the jetties. Now, most of these piers will hold some pilchards and sardines, so you want to bring a sabiki rod, and you can sabiki up some baits for live or dead bait. And then there's also a lot of hanks and snags around these piers and jetties, so you want to bring along plenty of hooks and leader and sinkers, because you're definitely going to lose a few. Now, staying inshore, we got snook being caught in all of the inlets, and they're eaten on live pilchards, herrings, pinfish, and croakers, whatever bait's the most abundant in your area. You want to drift them near the bottom using a Jupiter rig. Otherwise, you can bounce flare hawk jigs and soft plastics along the bottom. That's been working well as also. And then all the bridges of the ICW, those are also holding snook, and they're being caught on both live and artificial baits, and you want to fish the shadow line. Now, on both the inlets and the bridges, the outgoing tide's going to be the best because it's been clear water on that incoming tide. And then also along the beaches from Lake Worth Inlet south to Government Cut, those snook have been running in the troughs just off the beach, and they're eating live pilchards and herrings. And if you're fishing artificials, you want to fish an artificial that's going to imitate that small pilchard or that herring. And the best time to target these beach snook has been early in the morning and then late in the afternoon. You can do it by boat or by foot. And you want to fish in areas that are holding bait. Now, moving offshore, dolphin fishing remain consistent most of the week here. And most of the fish, they're being caught 8 to 15 miles offshore. You want to look for sargassum patches, weed lines, rips, and anything floating. And a lot of these fish have been real nice size. There have been schools of fish in the 8 to 12-pound range. And they're being caught on the troll with rig baits and small lures. And then once you locate those fish, you want to cast live baits or cut ballyhoo and bonita. Now, I prefer the cut bait because your hookup ratio is a lot better. And then some of these larger fish have been up to about 30 pounds or better, and they've been moving to the south really fast, and a few of them have been under birds. Now, I got a photo here, and this is a nice dolphin catch that we had last Saturday. We had fish up to 20 pounds there, so all those schoolies are in the 8 to 10-pound range.
Nice.
And then we've also, yeah, it was nice. Now, we've also been finding some real nice triple tails around that floating debris and those weed patches that we've been catching the dolphin on. But one of the problems has been getting your bait to the triple tail through all the hundreds of small jacks and triggers that have been hanging around. These small Almaco jacks have been like piranhas, same with the triggers. Now, if the jacks and the triggers are really bad, you can try cutting up some chunk bait, throw them out there till the jacks and triggers get full, and then you can sight fish, cut, and live baits to those triple tails. Now, there's been a lot of small triple tails, but it's really easy to pick out the larger fish, sight fish them, put your bait right on his nose. That should get a bite. Now, the size limit just recently went up on triple tails from, I think, from 15 to 18 inches, and you're allowed 2 fish per person. But most of these larger, obvious fish, they've been easy keepers in the 3 to 4 pound range. And there's even been some larger ones up to 6 to 8 pounds caught.
All right, Jimbo, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Casa Vieja Southeast region. Inshore, look for the snook in all the inlets and off of the beaches in the evening and the early morning. And we want to try live and artificial baits for the snooks. And then offshore, cast live and cut baits to dolphin offshore around any floating debris.
Rick, you and I have been to a few CCA banquets, and
Yes.
we know they are always a good time. So join them for the 33rd Annual Banquet and Auction at Coral Gables Country Club from 6 to 8 p.m., where there will be live auction, raffles, dinner, and entertainment. For more information and to purchase your tickets, go to ccaflorida.org. What do you say about that?
I say that we all should go and have a monster party.
I agree.
Come on.
All right, let's head on down to the Keys, where we could call it one long jetty pier bridge full of great shore-based fishing spots. So let's hear what Captain Randy Tao has to say on the subject.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, we really do have a lot of piers throughout the Keys, and they are the old bridges, the old US 1 highway. They've left on some of these bridges, not all of them, but most of them will have two bridges, one designated to fishing and the other obviously on the highway with no fishing signs clearly marked on it. But these bridges can hold a variety of things, and you really, if you're educated and you know when to go there for fish like tarpon and snook or mangrove snappers, you can have some pretty good success. But if you're just the average Joe, you want to go catch something, a bucket of shrimp, and try not to do it on the screaming tide, and you're going to catch something. Mangrove snappers, grunts, there's a variety of fish, jacks, blue runners, and these piers really hold fish all the time. But the timing, you'll hear me talk a lot about conditions and timing, when to be where, and that's where the trickery comes in. And it's not like it's a secret. If you understand the tides and you know when to go on the high tide or the low tide, it's pretty easy to look at a local tide chart and get that information, and that's when you want to go put your time in at these bridges. Now, at each end of the bridge, you've got rocks, which we call our jetties. They don't necessarily stick out into the ocean, but they do stick out around the ends of the bridges, and guys will fish the corners of the bridges, especially at night, for snook and tarpon. That's a great way to catch the snook and tarpon. They hang out on the ends of the piers, the bridges, not necessarily in the middle. So, again, if you know when to be there, that's a very good area. And most of the bridges, just a hot tip, it's a south side on an outgoing tide is kind of the rule of thumb, where a lot of these bridges, the way the wind blows and the way the tide works, that water pushes up there, and guys have quite a bit of success with snook and tarpon in that condition. Going inshore again with bonefish, you know, we haven't really talked about bonefish much in the last few years, but they're making a little bit of comeback, or guys are starting to talk about what they're catching. And here again, the conditions. A low incoming tide's one of my favorite, where you get the fish from the deeper water to come up on top of the flat. And a lot of times these fish are tailing, especially if it's a morning or a late afternoon. And there's nothing more exciting than to see a bonefish tailing on top of a flat and know that you've got to get your fly or your shrimp in front of that fish without spooking it. And it's a challenge, and it doesn't always work. But when it does, it's pretty exciting. And right now there's been a really good condition in the lower Keys, and guys have been catching the bonefish really well in the backcountry, and that's north of Key West, and it's below Big Pine, kind of in that zone. And these guys have had some really good fishing. Captain Richard Black, you heard me talk about him last week. He was fishing in the Redbone Celebrity Tournament, the Slam in Key West, which he won, but he was also fishing last week in the Marathon Bonefish Tournament, which has been going on for about 40 years, one of the most prestigious bonefish tournaments in the Keys. And his angler, Rob, who has Rob's Car Wash in Marathon, they won the bonefish tournament with 34 bonefish caught in 3 days of fishing.
Come on, man.
I've got a photo of the perpetual trophy with these guys, and they're getting their name on it, and that's some really great fishing.
You know what? I'm going to have to go down there and check his hubcaps. All right, dude.
You know,
what else you got for us?
Here we are in mid-September. The dolphin bite is still really strong. We've had a weed line on the Upper Keys, Islamorada, Key Largo, in 1,000 feet. That's just been fantastic. If you're one of the first boats to get on it, you're going to catch plenty of fish. And ironically, listening to Jimbo's report, our fish here are averaging about 10 to 12 pounds as well. So no little ones, no throwbacks. And you're always going to find them on debris and also birds. And there's no one that does it better than Captain Brian Cohn on the Contagious. And I've got a photo of him, and this is what he does a lot. He's one of the gurus at dolphin fishing, and he's been having some great fishing.
Looks like a
Those
fun
dolphin,
day.
I know where those dolphin ended up, in the garbage can in the back of the boat. That's what he's got them in, boy. He gaffs them right in the garbage can so they can't jump out.
Smart
It's the
man.
coolest thing ever.
Smart man.
All right, tell me about some black groupers, Papa.
You know, a real nice thing to do, once you've been offshore, you catch your dolphin, you come in, what are you going to do with the rest of your day? Well, the reef and some of these deeper wrecks have been really good for mutton snappers and groupers. And with the calm conditions, it's easy to fish out there, whether you're dropping a live grunt or you're deep dropping for some of the bigger groupers in deep water. But it's a good condition right now. September's a great month. And Captain George Campbell, with his boat, the Snapshot, out of Hawks Cay Resort, he does it better than anybody. And I've got a photo of one of his big groupers he caught the last few days, and he is certainly good at bottom fishing, and grouper is his specialty.
All right, thank you so much, Randy. Great report tonight. You bounced all over the place. I love it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Florida Keys hotspots. Randy says inshore tarpon fish at first light around the local bridges or flamingo areas on the shoreline. And then offshore, dolphin look for the floating debris and the working birds in 400 feet of water early in the morning in the Keys.
He's
you know
providing
what?
us with some
You
variety.
saw that big black grouper I caught? I caught
did.
that thing, 70-pounder in 250 feet of water on a pure jig.
High five.
Come on.
High five. That deserves a real high five. All right, let's check out some tournaments going on the Florida Keys, shall we?
Let's do.
The Take Stock in Children Backcountry Challenge is scheduled for September 28th through the 30th in Key Largo. Anglers will fish for trout, snook, and redfish while raising funds for local student scholarships. The second tournament in the Redbone Trilogy, set for October 5th through the 7th, the Baybone Celebrity Tournament in Islamorada, targets permit and bonefish to raise money for cystic fibrosis research and treatment. The Islamorada Fall All Tackle Bonefish and Permit Championship, set for October 7th through the 10th, awards trophies for releases of the 3 longest bonefish and the 3 longest permits. The Fall Backcountry Fly Championship is set for October 26th and 27th and focuses on 2 days of fly fishing for redfish and snook in Islamorada. I can't believe we're talking about October already. Oh,
Man,
shoot.
before you know it, we're going to be dressing up for Halloween.
Yes, we are. What are you going to be this year? I don't know
can't
yet.
tell it.
Oh,
I
shoot.
know.
All right, let's check in with Andy Newman to see what tournament he's featuring this week.
Well, hi guys. The Costa Sugarloaf Showdown is set for November 1st through the 3rd in the Lower Florida Keys. Presented by the Lower Keys Guides Association, the tournament serves as a fundraiser for the Florida Keys Guides Trust Foundation. The Catch and Release contest targets bonefish, permit, and barracuda. More details at sugarloafshowdown.com. And for more information on all tournaments in the Florida Keys, go to flakeys.com.
All right, stay tuned if you're throwing a line in the Southwest region. We're bringing you your captain next right here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. And I might have a little mini-me on the show coming up too, so you're going to want to stick around for that. Her name might be Mia. We'll be right back.
Come on.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Suffix. Always use the best line. The IGFA. Fish for the future. Flagler Construction Equipment. Your exclusive Volvo dealer. And Okuma. Inspired fishing.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO offshore.
Outside is a bully. There are bears, screaming fleet-footed waters. Arrogant mountains. Goliaths. 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 And 100 other excuses to stay inside. But there are ways to deal with bullies.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron.
Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
Introducing the 2018 Nissan Titan Half-Ton. The Titan you've known and loved since 2004 has been redesigned. Titan comes with a 5.6-liter gas V8 engine, putting out 390 horsepower. Or opt for the Cummins Turbo Diesel with a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty and up to $9,600 in total savings. The Titan has never been so affordable. So for special hassle-free Florida Insider Fishing Report pricing, call one of our truck specialists now at 833-GOT-TRUCKS or visit harbortrucks.com/Rick.
Today's Power Pole tip of the week is about, does the power pole add a lot of weight to the transom of the boat? And simply, guys, it doesn't. Now we're talking about a bracket that weighs anywhere between 5 and 7 pounds, and depending on the model that you get, our micro is 7 with the blade, 10-foot blade, being 27 pounds. So simply, we're not gonna add a lot of weight. You're not gonna change the draft of the boat. You're not gonna have to re-prop your boat. And more importantly, the pumps have been mounted in the floor so that they're out of the way and not on the transom. So many times when we add weight to the boat, it affects the performance, and that's not gonna happen by adding 2 power poles. So if you have any questions whatsoever, you can either go online to powerpole.com or you can go down to your local dealer. And that's today's Power Pole tip of the week.
Power pole tip.
You know, exactly. You know, Brie, the cool part about the power poles is how we're able to adjust the speeds. And what that does is it allows us to be a lot more quieter than the competition, because we can make them medium speed, slow speed, even though that wasn't the tip. That's what comes to mind, how stealthy I am now.
Stealthy.
With my power pole by adjusting the speed. That adjusts the noise level.
Stealthy Rick Murphy.
A little trick from Richard.
A little trick for the trade. All right, Captain Ronnie Houston is filling us in on the Pier and Jetty hotspots in the Bell's Southeast region, Southwest region right now, so let's not keep him waiting any longer. Hey, Ronnie.
Hey, Bree, you know, it's always a pleasure. You know, piers and jetties is a great subject, especially as we're getting ready to come off the show and the next couple months for fall and winter. Now, areas like these are structure-orientated and will hold species like black drum, sheepsheads, and snappers, basically bottom feeders. Areas like that would be the Naples Pier, Gordon's Pass with a jetty, the Fort Myers Pier, and the Matanzas Pass. But they can also be accessed by land. And it's simple as using live shrimp or cut shrimp, but normally all species can be caught all year round in these areas. Now, the winter bite does include bluefish, jackson, mackerel, and whiting. Spring through summer, snook and tarpon frequent these areas, but so do the pilchards and hairbaits. Bait that can be used in these areas that's relatively simple to catch an abundance of fish would simply be bucktails and spoons. But whatever your desire, whether it be live bait or artificials, a variety of fish can be caught, and that is due to the structure. It draws bait, and once it draws bait, most predators will follow in suit. Now, on the inshore side, we're going to talk about the snook. 10,000 islands in Everglades region. Want to concentrate on the outer Gulf Islands on the higher stages of the tide, fishing blowdowns, points with current, and mangrove shorelines. Once you locate them, they have been spooled up. You know, live pilchards, chum, have been getting them going. You can also catch these snook on a variety of artificials if you can't find the pilchards. Top water walk the dog lures, bone has been a great color, or half-ounce gold and silver spoons, 4-inch soft plastic bass assassin sea shads, in white, Houdini, or root bear, but also 3 to 4-inch subsurface lures in olive, chrome, and chartreuse. And I got a prime example down in the southern end of the region of some oversized snook caught with Captain Brian Sanders. That's what's happening in the Everglades region. And, you know, before I go offshore, you know, Rick, you know, with the Akuma rods, I'm a big shadow stalker guy. I love the shadow stalkers. I've been fishing them for about 2 years. And they, you know, basically cost about $80. But I just received some of the Ricky Reds. What really impressed me was the old school cork handle, and while you hold it with the grip, how balanced the rod is. My question to you, Rick, is what is going to be the price point of these rods, and are they affordable, and where can I start getting them in the Southwest region?
Well, absolutely, Ronnie. First off, you can go to your local dealer. Fish and Frank's has them in Punta Gorda, as well as a lot of other guys. They're getting them in a lot of places. They got them up at CB's in Sarasota. I'm not quite sure in Naples, but I'll know by next week. The other thing I want to say is that one of the things that I really like about it is the price point. They're very affordable, $99, and that's a really good, a lot of rod with 10 guides and cork grips. As you know, that adds to the price, but it certainly doesn't jeopardize the quality of what we're putting out there.
Of course not.
Okay, so now as we go offshore, thanks for answering my question, Rick. Permits, Pavilion Key to Gordon's Pass, fishing wrecks, 5 to 25 miles out. This is typically a run-and-gun bite with patience at these areas. Some of these areas are holding scattered fish, while others are holding good schools of fish. Anchor up or make several drifts across the structure using live crabs. One with a small weight and one without, free line, to figure out where they are in the water column. Right now, the reports I'm getting are fish up to be 35 pounds are being caught. I got another prime example of some fish being caught to the south. There's a nice pair of permit caught to the south. Also on the offshore side, the red groupers. Throughout the whole region, depths have been 150 to 105. Good water movement has been the best bite. The slower the tide, the bite has been really slow, so you're going to have to keep moving around. If you're catching smaller fish, still, you're going to have to keep moving. It's going to take a little bit of work. Strong currents probably going to be the best, but cut baits have been initiating the bite, especially squid, sardines, and herring. Also been working, but live pinfish have been catching some of the bigger fish. So while you're using cut baits, try dropping down live pinfish and see if that produces some bigger ones. I got another prime example of some nice red groupers caught in those depths. And one of the pictures was from last week with the Take a Soldier fishing event with one of the winning teams. Guys, weather's looking good. Easterly winds for the weekend. Get out, catch you some fish.
Ronnie, make sure that we get those dates. Bree and I'd like to attend that Make a Soldier's fishing. Please make sure we know about it as soon as they set the dates. All right, bud, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Calusa cast net hotspots from the southwest region inshore. Redfish, Coon Key to Jack Daniels Key at the higher stages of the tide. The outer Gulf Islands using gold spoons, live pilchards, cut mullet, and ladyfish. And then offshore, cobias, Marco to Fort Myers Beach, 8 to 20 miles out, fishing wrecks and artificial reefs using swim baits, artificial eels, and live large baits.
All right, don't leave us just yet. We're telling you what we're fishing for next week on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and I brought a very special guest many of you have been asking to see, so please stay tuned and we'll be right back with my Mia.
Introducing the 2018 Nissan Titan Half-Ton. The Titan you've known and loved since 2004 has been redesigned. Titan comes with a 5.6-liter gas V8 engine putting out 390 horsepower, or opt for the Cummins Turbo Diesel with a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty and up to $9,600 in total savings. The Titan has never been so affordable. So for special hassle-free Florida Insider Fishing Report pricing, call one of our truck specialists now at 833-GOT-TRUCKS or visit harbortrucks.com/Rick.
Master your most challenging offshore experience with confidence and ease with Yamaha Helmmaster. Precise, intuitive control on the open seas. Unrivaled ease for maneuvering and docking in port. And now SetPoint adds 3 new dimensions to boat control. Maintain boat position with fish point, or a position and heading with stay point, or a heading while you drift with drift point. Yamaha Helmmaster. Now with SetPoint. Complete digital control for today's larger offshore boats.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide-and-seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here we come.
When you're paid to put fish in the boat, you don't mess around with the thing that puts fish in the boat. Always use the best line.
Thanks for tuning in to the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram to keep up with our captains, contests, and appearances. You never have to miss a show. You can find full episodes, special segments, and updated fishing reports from your region right on our homepage. Just head to FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com for everything you need to know to stay hooked up.
Make sure to tune in next week because we are talking all about the mackerel. But right now we're talking all about the Mia.
This is the holy mackerel right here.
Yes, it is. Say hello, Mia.
My Molly Moo is going to be very angry you brought that baby. She wanted to see that baby.
Look at that little sweet baby.
We have her pretty little dress on that our makeup lady Jeanette got for her.
I had a sailor outfit kind of like that.
So Brie, how old is Mia now?
She is 3 months and she likes to try to stand.
Yes.
She's 14 pounds and she enjoys things such as walks and fishing with mommy on the dock and other things like that.
Now Brie, she looks rather tan. Did she come out tan or
Yes.
is it because she's been in the sun?
Both. Both. I mean, she has mommy skin, I think. Daddy's got a little bit of tan skin too, but it's all about the mommy tan skin. And we go outside a lot. She's already been lobstering.
Wow.
Yes, she's been on the boat. She's been to the sandbar. She's a little water baby so
Beat
far.
me.
Mia, we're gonna have to get Uncle Randy down in the Keys to build you a little Mia rod.
Yes, we are.
Oh.
It's a little Mia rod.
Oh my God, I'm gonna start
Are you
bawling.
dying?
Oh,
Are you just gonna cry?
Bye, Mia.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning
Thank
in.
you.
We'll see you
So
next
proud
weekend.
here at the workbench. So
Bye.
proud.